When you think of iconic Clash characters in the Clash universe, there are three candidates for the top spot. There's the Barbarian, who is the game's logo and one of the main troops in the game. Then there's the Hog Rider, who's pretty self-explanatory since he's the go-to meme unit of Clash, and is extremely well known even outside the Clash community. And finally, there's the Pekka. The Pekka is a female robotic samurai knight who is a powerful ground fighter with high hit points and some of the highest damage in the game. However, she wasn't always like this, so let's go back to the beginning. Back in 2012, the Pekka was one of the 10 troops in Clash of Clans at launch, and being the final one unlocked at that. She was unlocked at Town Hall 8, which was the final town hall at the time, with 2 levels, and taking up 25 housing space, which was very significant since you couldn't hold as many troops in your army back then. Sadly, I can't give you usage stats for the old Pekka, but is likely one of the most used troops, since its high damage output combined with its high health would allow it to easily solo most bases, especially at the lower town halls. Back then in Town Hall 8, there weren't any major counters to the Pekka either, since there were no Inferno Towers or monoliths. The closest thing to a counter was a Spring Trap, since back then it could kill Pekkas, but that was short-lived since this was removed less than a month later, in the Pekka's first balance change. This would continue until February 5th, 2013, where the hidden Tesla would now deal double damage to the Pekka, and the Expos were also decent against them since they could keep consistent damage on them for a while at a range, especially with the help of other defenses. The extra buildings also made the Pekka a bit worse too, since the Pekka requires a lot of time between its attacks, but I'm sure it was still extremely good back then, only being rivaled by the dragons. Even once Town Hall 10 came out, they were still good, even with the Inferno Tower. This forum on the Cock Wiki from 2014 was the best look I had at what the Pekka was like back then. According to this forum, the Pekkas were not good for farming since they're expensive to train, but they were decent in trophy pushing in a strategy called Go Wipe, where golems and Pekkas were tanked for wizards and archers. It was a good strategy for the lower town halls and trophy levels. After a few years of training time decreases in extra levels, the Pekka finally lost its weakness to hidden Teslas, but by this point there have been multiple buildings that could effectively deal with them, and other troops have become better. This would stay the same for a while, where the Pekka just gets the occasional extra level and the occasional buff, which leads me to believe that Pekka wasn't very highly used, since if it was good, it wouldn't need buffs. The buffs were mostly health buffs, and some small damage buffs for the lower leveled Pekkas. The final change that the Pekka has received is some small upgrade time reductions, although Town Hall 16 is coming out extremely soon, and the level 11 Pekka will be coming out with that, and we'll see if it's any good. However, there is also a Pekka variant in the builder base called the Power Pekka, and formerly known as the Super Pekka. The Super Pekka was added to the game in March of 2018, and had a special ability where it would blow up, damaging everything around it. This troop was and still is one of the best builder-based troops. For the first year of the troop's existence, it was being changed very frequently, nerfing the overcharge damage, buffing the speed, and increasing or decreasing the health, etc, etc. However, after this first year of being constantly changed, the Super Pekka remained in its state for a while, only gaining new levels, until Builder Base 2.0 came out. This update only changed its name, nerfed Overcharge since it was now a one-time use ability, and nerfing its movement speed. In the end, Power Pekka was still one of the only good troops in Builder Base, since its high health was just so good, and the explosion it creates is very effective in attacks. It also wasn't slammed with nerfs like the other troops. The Power Pekka also came to the clan capital, but I'm not sure how good it is there. That is everything on the Pekka in Clash of Clans gameplay-wise, so now let's cover the Pekka's character and backstory. Pekka stands for the Perfectly Enraged Night Killer of Assassins, which isn't a great name in my opinion. She appears to be a robot based on a samurai-esque design, although it is unknown what exactly it is. She also has some sort of relation to the Mini Pekka, but the Mini Pekka is usually depicted as its own thing, with only its name and design being similar to the Pekka. It's also notable that the Pekka has an extreme love of butterflies, even ditching the army camps to chase them. And that's all we really have on the lore of the Pekka. For being such a major character in the Clash universe, she really doesn't have that much known about her. Okay, that was everything about the Clash of Clans Pekka. Why don't we do a quick segment on the Clash Royale Pekka? I won't go into competitive history though, since I'm not nearly qualified for that. The Pekka was a part of Clash Royale from the very beginning, where it was originally 8 elixir rather than 7. This would quickly change to the 7 that we know now, although it came with a small HP nerf. This continued where the Pekka was getting quite a few buffs for the year. Pekka was also pretty unique back then, with it having some of the highest damage in the game, but with a huge downside. Unlike the Clash of Clans Pekka, this one was slow. Pekka is one of the slowest units in the game to this day. This made the card almost like a glass cannon, where if it got to the tower, it was game over, thanks to the ridiculous amount of damage it does. The problem is that it takes an entire year for it to get to the tower. Assuming your opponent hasn't forgotten to play, your opponent will likely counter it, usually with a Skarmy, Goblins, or literally anything with multiple units in it. Even the 1 elixir skeletons were one of the best counters to it. Final balance change the Pekka has received to this day was a range decrease in 2019, and has remained in the same state since then. If we look at the current day stats for the Pekka, we see the Pekka has a 4% usage rate, and rank 58 in usage rates for grand challenges, although in ladder, the Pekka is used considerably more, having a 10% usage rate, and being ranked 37, only a little bit behind the Mega Knight. The issue with Pekka is that it doesn't do its job very well. It's a great defensive card, but it's too expensive to get out most of the time. It can decimate towers, but it almost never gets to hit them because of how slow it is. And anything can shut it down super easily, because it only hits 1 unit at a time and takes forever to do so. The only decks that use it nowadays is Pekka Bridge Spam, or the variant with the Evo Archers, which is extremely good, but even then only a few top players use it. Overall, while iconic, the Pekka isn't too good in Clash Royale. And that concludes today's video. I'm sorry if it was short, but these characters don't have too much depth, and I don't know how to make a video 20 minutes long like Gratz does. Special thanks to Gola Broth 5049, who I probably butchered the name, for inspiring this, since I really didn't have a video planned for this week. Subscribe for a good day, and see ya guys next time. Also, the next video will probably be a Smash Bros related video, so stay tuned.